Okay, we'll do a roll call vote real quick. Commissioner Douglas,
Here.
Commissioner Macy,
Here.
And Commissioner Colo.
I'm here.
All right. First off, we have approval of the agenda. Anyone like to modify the agenda?
I'd like to move approval of the agenda with a modification to vote for a committee chair.
All right. Moved by Commissioner Colo, second by Commissioner Macy. Roll call vote, Commissioner Colo,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
So moved. All right, nomination of chair.
I nominate Brandon Colo.
Oh my God, this is such a mistake. You've clearly never been at a meeting chaired by Brandon Coley. It will be 3 times as long as this meeting otherwise would be, just so you know. Just so you know.
I've just got to report that, you know, the youngest justice on the Supreme Court gets coffee for everybody else. So this is your moment. Assuming someone seconds my motion.
I'll second your motion, but if I'm here until midnight, Char.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Colo.
Nay.
Motion adopted.
Well, I begrudgingly accept your nomination. Thank you, committee. Okay, let me
The
pull up.
floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm now going to find the agenda. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'll link to agenda. Madam Clerk, can you send me the agenda one more time?
I'm actually on the website right now.
Okay.
Carol,
No, I'll go to your website. Just want to make sure.
So if you have the link on the website, you can put it in the chat.
Did you need something from me, Melanie?
the agenda, if you could link it. I'm sorry.
No, I'm on the website. I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah. Just want to make sure I'm following the right order here. Okay, first item on the agenda after approval is public comment. Mr. Ringer, do we have any public comment today?
We have one member in the audience. If you wish to make a public comment, raise your virtual hand. If you are, okay, that was quick.
Okay, let's open up to Mr. Moore.
All right, Mr. Moore, I'm going to allow you to talk, state your name, and then I will begin the 3-minute timer for you.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, hi, Travis Moore, 906 East 5th Street, which is an update to what you have in your applications. I just didn't want to bother the clerk's office when I moved during election season, so I didn't bother them with such a small task. I know it's a busy time of year for the appointments committee. You have new appointments, reappointments, and all kinds of stuff going on. So I just wanted to talk brief 3 minutes or less about my application for the Zoning Board of Appeals and a little bit about my interest there and my experience. I watch every single one of these meetings, and I have for several years, this and the Planning Commission. They're just interesting to me. I find all of it particularly fascinating. I've held a real estate license since 2002, which I now use as more of a hobby than a career at this point in my life, but it still requires me to do continuing education every year. And so I've went through some courses and some interesting case studies regarding zoning. Also, I have reviewed the Michigan Municipal League Zoning Board of Appeals handbook that is published on their website. Fully understand what it takes to be on the ZBA and what would be required of somebody on the ZBA. And while I wouldn't say I'm an expert in all of the zoning ordinances, I have went through many of them just by cases that were presented to the board that I was interested in. I think that I can leave it at that. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
You're muted, Brandon. Still muted.
That's why I shouldn't run the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Moore. I appreciate you. If we have any questions pertinent, we'll get them over. Is there anyone else? Yeah, Ms. Commissioner Macy.
It's actually not a question. I just was going to say this is super helpful to have people come and talk about their application to really flesh it out a little bit. The applications give us a little information, but not a lot. So just want to say thank you, Mr. Moore.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Is there anyone else with public comment tonight?
No, it does not look like there is.
Okay. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the appointments and reappointments. This being my first appointment committee, I assume that maybe we start with, does it start with the clerk telling us how many going through each item, or how does this work? To my esteemed commissioners.
Well, you have your packets hopefully with you. And what we do is we usually just go through each committee alpha, and we just go through and see which ones need reappointments, which ones have vacancies, and then you can discuss those. If for some reason you decide there's a committee you get to where you want to push that off to the end, you can do that as well. So it's really up to you, up to the committee, what you'd like to do.
Commissioner Macy.
So I like the proposal of starting with the alphabetically because I think it starts us off with a really easy one.
Okay.
So I guess if you let me have the floor, Chair, then I'll make my proposal.
Pleasure.
So I guess just a little foreshadowing. In general, I feel like people who are asking to be reappointed and aren't term limited, if we haven't heard anything about their performance lacking in any way, then I'm inclined to reappoint them to their committees. So in this case, I would move reappointment of Dawn Rapinski to the Animal Shelter Committee.
I see a second from Commissioner Douglas. Okay, with a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Roll call vote, Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Okay, congratulations to Ms. Rapinski, and thank you for serving us.
If I may say here procedurally, while the chair cannot make motions, the chair can second motions.
Thank you.
Important note you might not have known before, as we once did not.
Yeah, I did learn the hard way.
Okay, moving on. Next we have audit review. Does anyone have any feelings on audit review like to share? Commissioner Macy.
Sure, we can't hear you. Okay, I'll go ahead. This is not one where I had just one sure thing, but my top two for this, the top two for this were Maxwell Parker and Arvind Sapra.
I would say that Mr. Sapper was in my top also.
Sapra, S-A-P-R-A.
Yes, Parker is one of my two picks, so it sounds like we have a consensus there. Where did I? Okay. My other pick was Parker and Ryan Everett.
I think I had Everett for something else.
I liked him for other committees as well. This is kind of where he seemed the best fit. And why was that? Let me look at my. Yeah, he works in finance. He works in actually real property valuation. So there were a couple of other places where he might fit in. So if you guys like, what was it again?
SAPRA, the note that I have here is CPA Audit Senior Manager.
That's what got me is the CPA, the audit manager.
Okay, I'll acknowledge that. And then it sounds like, what was it? Parker was our other favorite. And we agreed on that. So I will move appointment of Maxwell Parker and Arvind Sapra.
Oh, do we have two?
Well, we only have
opening.
one.
We only have one.
Oh, well then.
Sorry.
I would move appointment of Maxwell Parker, who was I think we all agreed on.
It's there are two, but I don't.
There are two spots?
No, I'm sorry. Two of you. Parker wasn't in my top, but not to say he couldn't be, and I'll support the motion.
Okay.
So we have I seconded Commissioner Douglas's motion. Is there any discussion
For Parker, correct?
for Parker? Correct. Yep, Commissioner Macy.
So I do note that Parker also is listed as a possibility for the Environmental Advisory Board, although I don't think he was one of my top choices for that. Whereas SAPRA only applied to this, I think. But I don't know. I'm fine with both of them. They were my top choices, but just making that note.
Commissioner Douglas, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I guess I was going to say if Commissioner Douglas also was going to put on an environmental advisory board, I'd prefer to spread the wealth. But if she had other people for that, as I did, then it's fine.
I think there are several people with, real environmental chops as candidates for the environmental advisory board. Mr. Parker has an interest, but again, there are a couple of other people who are super qualified for that. So I'm pretty strong with my choices there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The thing I'll add is that Mrs. Sakura does have, whereas Mr. Parker has been a resident for 8 months, and it's great that he wants to be involved. Mrs. Sakura has been here 4 years, so a little more time and a little bit more of an education that is, he's a CPA. That's what he does, as opposed to a business analyst. So I think Mr. Sakura's background is more suited for this.
Well, we've got a motion on the floor. Let's see how it goes.
We call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas.
Yes, in favor of Mr. Parker.
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I'll also vote yes. Okay, congratulations to Mr. Parker. Next up, going alphabetical review, you have 4 openings. 1 person up for appointment has not been termed out. 3 are. I'll note that the board of review, we have a letter from our assessor who discusses this kind of specialized task that a board of review member undertakes.
Yes, he made it very clear the specialized nature of this committee, and recommended that some people who are on the committee remain on the committee because of their specialized knowledge, and also recommended a 4th possible person, again, someone with whom he's familiar. So I'm inclined to respect his views and move that we appoint, I'll try this as a package and see how that flies. Jane Brancho, Beverly Foss, Stephen Gillette, and Joanne Ryder to the Board of Review.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Commissioner Macy.
So I already said, I feel like reappointing makes sense, except when people are termed out. But this is, I think, a very specific exception to that when we have someone coming forward. And I think he made a really good case that we're one of the only municipalities that does it this way, where they don't sort of serve until they're done, because there's a lot of specialized knowledge in this. So I appreciate his looking through that and making these recommendations for us so that we could make a good decision here. In general, I don't think people who've been termed out should always get to continue. I think we should let other people try new things, but sometimes those new things aren't easily done by the general public. So yeah.
Madam Clerk.
Just one point of order. Looks like for Beverly Foss, I'm sorry, Joanne Ryder. Let's see, Joanne Ryder. And Beverly Foss, those two would need a special resolution because they are termed out. So you might possibly do a motion to where you do the special resolution for those two and then do a second resolution for appointments.
Okay, I'll modify my motion then to appoint Jane Branchow, Stephen Gillette. Stephen Gillette.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner, Madam Clerk, do we have to vote on that amendment, or is that a friendly amendment?
That's a friendly amendment.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, so now we're back to the modified motion on the table. I'll just add to Commissioner Macy's point. I agree that we should abide by term limits. This might be a special exception. However, I don't think you should necessarily go as long as maybe the assessor wants in his letter to us. I think getting systematically replacing some of these people who might have been reappointed a couple of times is fair. So getting in someone new on the board's a good idea, and we're doing that right now too. We're replacing one person who's term limited. So I think it's a good trend to go in, but definitely recognize the need for that specialized service. So unless there anyone else wants to keep on talking about this, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
And I vote yes. So that brings us to the first two. Does anyone have a motion for a special appointment? Commissioner Macy.
So I'll move for a special resolution allowing for the appointment of Beverly. I can't find the names.
Ryder and Foss.
Ryder and Foss. There we go.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Out any discussion, I will call for the vote. Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Okay. Moving on, we have the Building Authority Board of Commissioners. For this, we have one opening for someone who does not want to be reappointed. Commissioner Macy.
I had James Costello for this.
Yeah, I had for this Patrick Chirac. But let me look at Costello.
So I had Chirac for the Construction Code Board of Appeals. Which I felt like there were fewer qualified candidates for.
Oh, you know what? I had him in both places, actually.
Okay, so I was trying not to do that too much.
That's a mistake on my part. I didn't want to do that either.
I'll throw out, I had David Jones on either of those also.
So you had, let me look at Costello. Uh-oh, I do not have his bio. I missed that. What's his background?
I have all their backgrounds memorized. Hold on.
He's a civil engineer. He has a BSc in civil engineering from some school in Ann Arbor. It's not legible.
That's the one.
Um, he's an engineer at American Axle.
So in Jones. SHIJ.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Douglas, who was your pick?
So this is Building Authority Board of Commissioners, right? We said.
Correct. Yes.
I had Patrick Chirac, but I also had him on the Construction Code Board of Appeals. So it was an unintended duplication there.
But I have Jones on the Civil Service Board. Wait,
There's
or
two.
maybe no, I don't.
I think if I'm right, there's two David Jones.
What?
Oh, I could be wrong.
I think you're wrong.
I also think he was just one of my possibles for Civil Service Board.
Okay, so Mr. Chirac has a MS from Johns Hopkins. Real estate investment and construction management.
So I'll bow to the will of the others as to either Mr. Jones or what was the other one?
I'll move James Costello.
Well, I lost him on the list. I'll support that.
Okay, is there any discussion on these, this one position? Okay. It's this is hard for me. I mean, there's a lot. It's great when you have really smart people who seem specialized in a field apply for a position, right? So we're dealing with a lot of people who can do well with this. So, okay, with that, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Congratulations, Mr. Costello. Okay, going down the line, we're at the Civil Service Board. This has two openings. Both wanted to be reappointed. However, one is termed out.
Who was termed out?
William Sullivan.
Oh, right. Right.
Frank Quinn is on and would like to be reappointed, and he's not termed out. So I will start and I will move him.
Second.
Oh, no, you can't move. You can only second. I'll move Quinn.
Second.
Any discussion on Quinn? I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
and I also vote yes, if I'm allowed to.
So the other one I had for this was Giles, Peter Giles.
And I had Jacob Woods here. Giles.
Civil service. So we had Giles and Woods.
And Woods.
For Giles, this is one of only two that he applied to. The other one was crime prevention, which doesn't have any openings.
Giles. I had Giles was one of my potential. I also had David Jones.
I had David Jones as a possible for this too. I also had Jacob Woods as a possible for this. So I had, my choice was Giles, and then I had several also excellent choices, and those two were among them. I had for Woods, there were several that was the case that I thought qualified for, although I don't know that he ended up being my first choice for any of these. I look at my spreadsheet now, it's like he's sort of my second choice for several. Shar, do you have thoughts about Giles?
I'm looking, hang on, I'm looking at him now. Between Giles and Woods. Where's Woods? I have no strong preference either way. If you really like Giles for that, I don't have him slated in anywhere else. That would be the only kind of thing that would change it for me. So if you want to move Giles, I'm fine with that.
Okay, that's that. I mean, that's my.
Okay.
But I also did like Woods, so I'm not. But he might come up. I mean, I guess I'm thinking Woods might come up again. Like he might come up in our discussion again.
Could be. I don't have him slotted anywhere else. But I'll bow to your feelings on Giles.
Okay, I'll move Giles.
Second.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
I also vote yes. Congratulations, Mr. Giles. Okay, Construction Board of Appeals. Construction Board of Appeals has 3 openings. One wants to be appointed, one does not, and one person has not responded.
I'll start by moving the reappointment of Anthony Ofak.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the reappointment? With none, I will call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
I also vote yes. Okay, so that leaves us with 2 more positions to fill.
I had 2 S's here. I had Sherrick and Smiley.
Oh, I had Schmidt. All the S's.
Wow. I had Sherrick.
Oh, no, wait. I had Sherrick. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I looked at the wrong line. I had Sherrick.
We all had Sherrick.
Okay. I think we're going to congratulate Mr. Sherrick in a couple seconds here.
Yeah. And then I had Smiley.
I don't actually see myself having another person marked here. Oh, the other person I had marked was Frank Quinn, who I think he's the one who's on Civil Service Board, but like in his application said he's looking to expand to try other things in the city. So that was the other one I had for this.
Yeah, but I'm disinclined to appoint people to more than one committee when we've got new faces.
So I totally agree with that generally, but I also feel like people sort of they become trapped in a committee if they can only wait until they're turned out of one committee before they apply to another. You know what I mean? Like we're going to reappoint them to their committee if they're doing a good job, but then they can never leave that until they're done. So the fact that he wrote it in his application that he's enjoyed this work but would like to try something else, to me was different than just randomly appointing people to a third committee when they're already on 2. Anyway, but I defer. I'm just.
And I'll add too, right? There's some committees that aren't quite as active as other committees. You know, there's if you meet here, you might have a level of contribution. I think Ms. Smiley's resume is pretty impressive.
I had Smiley for Rehab Board of Appeals.
I can see that. Okay.
Wait, who was the other S that Char had?
Sherrick and Smiley.
Oh, you did have Smiley. Okay.
Melanie, who's your other person?
I didn't have another one.
I have someone.
Well, it was Frank Quinn is my other one, but he's on something else.
Yeah. I have a cell.
Who?
I'm looking at. I'm trying. I feel like this name got transposed incorrectly. I have someone who applied to only this and the Building Authority Board of Commissioners. I think it's David Jones. If you all see that in your spreadsheet.
Jones didn't apply to this. Or at least not according to my spreadsheet.
Nope, I don't have that either.
Hmm.
So I guess I don't object to Smiley, except that I did have Smiley for the Rehab Board of Appeals, and we didn't have a ton of applicants for that one. So if it were like, if we're sticking to the one per person type, then I would start to worry about the integrity of my whole spreadsheet.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Rehab Board of Appeals for a minute, because we have one person termed out there. Mr. Who was it? Stone on there. I actually I happened to actually be at City Hall today, and I dropped in on Joseph Murphy. And we talked about the Rehab Board of Appeals. And it really plays a key role in our CBDG funding, not just, not just handling the appeals. And he spoke very highly of Mr. Stone. He says he really values his analysis. So I had Smiley as a possibility for that committee as well, but I was kind of listening to staff here and his endorsement of Mr. Stone. And he said of Mr. Stone, in fact, this is the only thing Stone has applied for. He said you would be happy to have him on any committee. So we could appoint Smiley here to the Construction Code of Appeals and reappoint, past his term limits, Carl Stone on Rehab Board of Appeals.
Yeah,
So
go ahead,
ahead.
Molly. I was just gonna say, can we look at OFAC also? I think Anthony OFAC, I think, has a pretty good application for this board also.
no, he's already on like 4 things.
Is he?
Anthony Offack is also on. He's demolition here and offer. He's on the ZBA and he's on the Construction Code Board of Appeals. I think.
Oh, never mind then.
Oh, but we're reappointing him.
Yeah, we're reappointing him. Yeah, I mean he's still on it, but we're not putting him on the Rehab Board of Appeals. So that's what you're
No,
suggesting.
you're right. Yep.
So I mean, I guess I wish I had known more about thinking about Carl Stone before this moment. But this is the kind of thing that I'm not sure that warrants a special, whatever we have to say, special resolution to reappoint. Like someone serving the community really well and having really valuable input is great. And we certainly want to reappoint those people through their term limits. But unless he's bringing some specialty knowledge to this, I think excellent service isn't reason to reappoint beyond the term. I think like if I had known, maybe I would have reached out to him and said, hey, I've heard that you would be great at any committee. You're termed out of this. What else would you be interested in? But I didn't, so I didn't. And I just tend to think that when we have other qualified applicants, we should be looking to expand their involvement. So, and the Construction Code Board of Appeals, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Melanie, that never meets, does it?
Not very often.
I feel like the last time we discussed it, there was like, because we discussed it, contracting it to fewer, or we did contract it to fewer members, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it hadn't met in 3 years when we did that.
Oh.
So like appointing to someone to this, I mean, all of our boards are important, but like, it's not exactly increasing someone's involvement to get involved in this board.
Well, in that case, I would then look at putting Smiley onto Rehab Board of Appeals and appointing Frank Quinn, Melanie, as you suggested.
Lovely. I'll move Sherrick and Quinn.
Okay.
Okay. I'll second. Is there any discussion? Call for the vote, Commissioner
wait.
Macy. Nope.
Oh yeah, we already did one, right? Yes, good, yes.
Did Anthony?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Macy. If you'd like to be chair, you can take over.
I would like to be chair. Thanks for asking.
I'm calling for the vote, Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Okay. Congratulations to our new construction board members. Hopefully you meet before the next 3 years are up. We're moving on to the Crime Prevention Council. Crime Prevention has 2 openings and both would like to be reappointed.
Yeah, I serve on this committee. They both contribute. I'm happy to reappoint Faye Ferrasi and Heather Lewis.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, no discussion. Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Congratulations on the reappointments. Next, Historical District Commission has 2 openings. One wants to be reappointed, but is term limited out. One person does not want to be appointed. Before we get too deep into this one, and as the rookie commissioner, I need to maybe get some knowledge from our my fellow commissioners or our city clerk. We have the Historical District Commission, the Historical Commission, and the Historical District Study Committee. And, you know, maybe, Madam Clerk, can you explain to me how the 3 of them interact with each other and why this isn't one committee?
They're all separate. And actually, Carol, are you still on? I'm only asking because she actually attends these meetings.
Actually, I can answer.
I'm here. I'm here. What did you need?
Historic District Commission, Historic District Study, and Historical Commission.
What
the
about
3
them?
Well, you talk with Ruth Cleveland quite a bit. They're asking about why they're 3 separate ones. But I know one is just designating historical properties.
So
One is the study of the historical properties.
So it starts, the state statute calls for us to have, the state statute, we can have a study committee. Once we designate a property, and once the study committee makes a recommendation and we designate a property as historical, then we have to have a historic district commission, and that is by the statute. And they oversee the historically designated properties. The study committee continues to investigate and offer new properties. So those 2 have to stay. The historical commission was created by a city ordinance, and they're just supposed to be overseeing the historical functions in the city, if you will. So they are the only one that really are created by ordinance, that if you wanted to somehow combine them or reassign their responsibilities. But one of the historical commission's responsibilities is oversight of the Orson Star House. So they run with the Orson Star Guild, they run the Orson Star House Museum for us. And there's some overlap on the commission and the Historic District Commission that oversees those designated properties and the Historic District Committee. But the Historical Commission has all different members. There's none that are on the study committee or the district commission. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Commissioner Douglas, did you want to add anything to that?
No, that's
Okay.
if Carol hadn't been here, I could.
Okay.
I had to do a lot of research on it one year, and I do have some of it still mulling about somewhere, because there was yet a 4th group that we kind of did do away with. It was a roundtable group. But there was talk of maybe trying to do like we do with the Brownfield and the Planning Commission, where we have the same members. And so it has crossover. And that certainly is doable if that's something that the city commission wanted to look into.
Yeah, I think that's my big question that I didn't quite understand. It seemed like this was a brownfield planning commission type situation with the district study committee and the historical district commission, but
Yep.
I don't think anything would change tonight.
Well, and for the historical commission, at least one member should be member of the historic district commission or historic district study committee.
And I don't know if there is somebody doing that right now. Because I haven't really, the historical commission does kind of meet on their own and do their own, that, not now, but they're more independent. I don't have as much interaction with them as I do with the study committee and the district commission.
Well, I think that's what Karlowski,
Yeah,
he's on the historical commission.
yes, that's the one I don't have as much interaction. And it's Alexandra is the chair.
Okay,
They've kind of decided not to meet right now until they can open the museum. So without the museum being able to be open, they haven't felt a need to meet.
okay. Well, is there any questions around that, or do you want to move on to the first one, the district committee? So the historical district commission has 2 openings. One is termed out, one person is not.
No, one person is termed out, one person doesn't want to be reappointed.
Correct.
She said she would be if there was no one else.
So I'm inclined to, and Commissioner Macy and I will probably debate this. Even though Muriel Versace is termed out on this committee, I would be inclined to reappoint her, given her deep knowledge of all things historic in the city.
So I agree. I think this is an exception to the rule. So this is someone who is a backbone of the committee and it is pretty essential to the committee's running. So I had reappointed Muriel through special, and then another one that I had for this was Kimberly Sansone.
Oh, me too.
Me too.
Lovely. Okay. So we have to do them separately though.
Yep.
Correct.
So I'll move Kimberly Sansone be appointed.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Macy, I call for the vote.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And then I'll move a special resolution to reappoint Muriel Versace.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? Okay, I will call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas?
Yes.
Commissioner Macy?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Okay, congratulations to the new member. Okay, so that moves us on to the historical commission. Openings, both want to be reappointed.
Yeah, I'll move reappointment of A. Zoe Harris and Rick Karlowski.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? Okay, Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Okay. That brings us on to the Historical District Study Committee, 2 openings. One wants to be reappointed and one person did not respond.
So I'll move the reappointment of Leslie Snow.
Second.
Is there any, yep, second, you got a second? Is there any discussion on the reappointment of Leslie Snow? With none, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas?
Yes.
Commissioner Macy?
Yes.
I also vote yes. Congratulations, Ms. Snow. So that leaves the next one. Who's the second person?
I had Luke DeVentier for that.
And I've got Melinda Lofton for this. Melinda was a city commission applicant. We don't know if she'll reapply, but she had a very few committees, very specific about the ones she was interested in, the 3 historic committees, the Environmental Advisory Board, and the Seniors Aging in Place Task Force. Environmental, as I've said before, I think we've got some super qualified people for that, and she does not have that kind of resume. I'm looking at the senior committee. I got several people who I think have super specific experience and skills. So that would be why I would support Melinda for historic district study. But thoughts, what was yours, Melanie?
Mine was DeVentier, but you've convinced me.
I had Mr. Woods, but I also agree with what you just said, Commissioner Douglas. So is there a motion?
I'll move Melinda Lofton.
Second.
Okay. Unless there's any discussion, Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
I also vote yes. I think maybe we can skip. Do you guys want to skip Parks and Rec and come back to it? Because I'm assuming that's going to be a longer conversation.
That's the hardest one for me, so I'm happy to do it at the end.
Okay.
As long as we're not appointing people to other committees that we might like for Parks and Rec. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, but I was sort of thinking it might be clarifying, like if there's somebody who really fits. I mean, I sort of think you and I are going to argue about some of the senior services versus Parks and Rec people. So,
Okay, well, maybe those kind of as a package.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good idea.
Okay. So I'm thinking we'll go rehab, environmental, traffic, veterans, zoning, senior Parks and Rec.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
Okay. So Rehab Board of Appeals, 3 openings. 1 wants to be reappointed, but has turned out 2 vacancies for during the year. We've had a couple conversations about this already tonight.
So I had Smiley, Hendren, and Everett for this.
and I had Croughton, Hendren, and Smiley, and Carl Stone, who's the termed out one, and we talked about that.
So Croughton was my backup for this. So great minds.
So we need
And-
3.
okay, so I have Smiley, Croughton, and Hendren was, I think, had commonalities there. Because I had Deborah Hendren on mine, and Smiley was one of my choices also.
And who was your third choice, Brandon?
I was relying on one of you two to come up with a third choice for me tonight.
Melanie, who was your third?
It was Everett, who you had for something earlier, but that we didn't give it to him.
I liked Everett earlier too.
Oh, you did? Okay.
No, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did get it.
But I mean, I also like Croughton, so he was my backup to this.
So I'll just say I agree. I think this is one of the most important committees that we have. I mean, this committee spends a ton of federal funds each year. I mean, this is a pretty important committee. The people who pay attention to it, it's pretty cool to get these applications.
So one of the things I talked about with Joseph today was and I don't know that we don't really have a way of determining this. He says he wishes we had a renter on this committee. Everybody else is a homeowner, and he thinks that would be a useful perspective. We talked about the desirability of having someone who works in social services on this committee. So I don't know necessarily that the people we're looking at have that kind of background, but it was kind of late in the day and I didn't have a chance to do a fast shuffle, and I've got a couple social service people who I think fit better elsewhere.
Also, I'm not sure that, I think I have a couple social service people too, but I'm not sure they actually even applied to this.
Oh, and that may have been it also, now that I think about it. Yeah.
You know, Miss Hendren is the director of community programming, and she has a master's of education in art therapy. So not necessarily a social service, but I think, you know, in the same family. Yeah, no, she does. She works daily with the Alliance in Oakland County, which addresses issues of homelessness and other housing crises.
Oh yeah, she's a definite. That's right.
Yeah. So that's Miss Hendren. I think Miss Smiley was we've had a long conversation about her. She would definitely be one of my picks.
She's one of mine too.
I
Those
think
two
she's
are the ones we
three of
all
ours.
agreed on. Those
Yeah.
those two we all three had. So now it's Croughton versus Everett, who we've all had in various places, I think. So I'm taking another look at those two.
So it looks like Everett has a tax background, right? Tax and finance.
Yeah.
Croughton,
Went to some school in East Lansing.
go green. Oh, Croughton worked in federal procurement. You know, if we're trying to finesse federal grants or interpret federal grants or you know, he might have really valuable information.
I like that. Making a motion.
Okay, I will, for the 3 openings on the Rehab Board of Appeals, nominate Charles Croughton, Deborah Hendren, and Janique Smiley.
Second.
Okay. 3 qualified candidates. Is there any discussion? I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas.
Yes,
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I vote yes also.
I think those are 3 solid choices there. Very happy with that.
And, you know, thank you to the retiring board members also, right? You know, we replaced someone who wanted to come back, but I think there's really good, people in the wings. Okay. The Rural Oak Environmental Advisory Committee. Here we have 5 total openings. 2 want to be reappointed. And we have 2 vacancies from the middle of the year and a staff member who is someone who was on the board previously but is now a staff member, so that position's open.
So I'm gonna, who we got for our reappointments? Jennifer
Yep.
Acevedo
And Amanda.
and Amanda. Well, I'm gonna start by moving Jennifer Acevedo for a reappointment.
Second.
Okay. So first, not term limited person, Jennifer. Is there any discussion? Not seeing any. Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I also vote yes.
So question, Herzog, is she, oh, she's a reappointment. I thought she was term limited.
She's not term limited.
Oh, well then I move her reappointment also.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on Dr. Herzog?
I thought Shar was about to go rogue there. I was like,
Okay,
what's
that's
happening
the
here,
word.
Shar?
Yeah.
I missed that. I thought she was term limited out. And I thought I was going to have to go to the mat for her on that one.
I think she might have thought she was. I know she was worried. She's approached, I know many of us. I think she's worried about being turned out, but
Yeah.
the clerk says she wasn't, and I go by what the clerk says. Okay, there's a motion and a second. The votes on Dr. Herzog.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas, Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Okay, so that leaves us with 3 open spots. Lots of applicants.
So Amanda has made a strong case for, and I completely support Paul Weil and Andrew, what's his name?
Sarpolis.
Sarpolis. Sarpolis is with the Sierra Club. Paul is a retired environmental planner, not planner, but environmentalist in the corporate world. They've both been super active on the committee as volunteers. Paul worked very closely with Julie in the development of our greenhouse gas evaluation. So those two I will make a strong case for. Amanda also, when I sounded her out about this, recommended, now I may have marked this wrong, Marcelletti, I believe.
There's a Nicholas Marcelletti.
Is he the one that I think I marked my spreadsheet wrong, but let me take a look.
Nope. I think he's the one you want to mark.
Oh, yeah. Professional geologist, over 20 years as an environmental consultant.
Is that a motion?
I guess so. I nominate Nicholas Marcelletti, Paul Weil, and Andrew Sarpolis.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Just real quick, all of these terms, they're different for this particular committee or board. It looks like there's one vacancy that the term ends 12/31/22, one ends 12/31/21, and the other one is 12/31/23. So 21, 22, 23. Do you have a preference of who you're appointing to what term?
Should we go alphabetical?
That's a good idea.
I don't know how to pick. I have no basis. Those were all three my choices, and I don't have preferences there.
Sounds good. So Marcelletti 2021 and down the line.
Yeah, Marcelletti 21, Sarpolis 22, Weil 23.
Thank you.
I guess that was a modified motion, right?
It looks like to me.
Second.
Okay, so the EOB, we have three candidates. I think we've had discussion. Unless anyone wants to add anything, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Congratulations to our new members. Okay, Traffic Committee, 2 openings, both want to be reappointed.
I'll move reappointment of Belen Morales and Dan Godek.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, I'll just, actually, I have a quick discussion. I'm going to support both of them. I'll just point out that the last couple of city commission meetings, we've had long discussion on traffic committee items. So I hope that the traffic committee members are paying attention to that and kind of seeing the desire of the city commission, you know, kind of where we're going and challenging us, but also challenging, making sure there's critical thinking and that we're all on the same page and moving forward. So I'll end with that. And I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I also vote yes. I think this will be a fun one, veterans events. 4 total openings, 2 want to be reappointed, 2 vacancies from during the year, and 1 student who did not want reappointment.
I'll move reappointment of London and Harmon. Sorry.
Can you specify the reappointment of David London?
The adult David London.
Second.
I'll second. Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Call for the vote. Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas.
Mixing it up, huh? Yes.
I'm going with the motion maker.
Ah.
Yeah. You're just calling the shots today, and I'll also vote yes. Okay, so we have 2 of the reappointments done.
I'll move appointment of the student. Noah London.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll throw out discussion. I think that's awesome. You know, students applying to a committee here, like, and Mr. London's on this committee. So I sure Mr. London Jr. were challenged the senior quite a bit. So congratulations to them. So with that, I call for the vote. I think it's Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
Douglas.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Okay, 2 new appointments.
I know there's only 2 appointments. I had Reiser, Wandoff, and Wenland.
I had Wandoff and Wendland.
So Reiser's a city employee. I just thought it could be useful. He only applied to traffic and veterans, but I was torn, obviously, since I have 3 and not 2.
Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I have the right person. I had Wandoff and Wendland also. And then
I mean, if we have those 2 in common, let's just do those 2.
A motion?
Make a motion for Wandoff and Wenland.
okay, is there any discussion? With that, Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
I also vote yes. Is Eileen Harmon on? Oh, she's on. Can you vote early? Okay. You know, Miss. Let's see. Frank Quinn and Charlie Broughton are both this. I remember those names from earlier in the night. I forget which one. If we're appointing one of them already.
Yeah, Quinn, what about it? Did you say something, Brandon? I missed it.
Quinn and Croughton. I think we appointed him already to something. I think they both have been appointed.
Yeah, they've both been appointed.
I'm sorry, what are we talking about?
Don't we have one more for veterans events?
No.
Oh,
No.
oh, okay. So then we have, I'm sorry. Why shouldn't share? Okay, so we're waiting on the vote?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, everyone. Commissioner, we'll call for the vote. Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Sorry about that.
I blacked out and we moved to zoning board and I was like, what's happening?
No, I'm sorry. I thought for some reason we needed a third, and I thought I heard 2. We all had 2 that we said. I was excited for, and then I thought we needed one more. I was trying to find my third person if I had to.
Probably the student thing through you.
I did. Okay. Let's go to the ZBA. 3 openings and 3 want to be appointed. 1 is term limited.
Unlimited. Oh, that's right. Anderson.
Ms. Anderson.
Right. So we've got a couple of really outstanding applicants, I think, here. 2 new faces, Travis Moore, who, anytime somebody comes to us and makes a strong appeal like that and has been watching planning and zoning board meetings for a couple of years, I just give really high marks to. So he's one of my strong candidates. I absolutely think we should reappoint Clyde Esprit. I think he does a great job as chair. And then the other one is this Maggie George, a new face here, but I think she's the one with like, she's a lawyer, so there's that working against her. Sorry, I had to do that. She's interested in property law and zoning. She trains mortgage bankers. She's very knowledgeable with zoning ordinances. I mean, I think she's got an excellent background.
Okay, I was only really looking for one, and I totally agree about Mr. Moore. He was one of my top candidates even before he spoke tonight. But I was assuming that we were going to be reappointing the two who were not term limited out.
Well, one is Clyde and the other is Alan Kroll. Alan has served on in the past on the zoning board and is back again. And I feel like the two people we have here, Ms. George and Ms. Moore, are bring a different perspective and one I think that the zoning board needs.
Mr. Kroll is a reference for Miss George. That's kind of like a passing of the baton.
So I'll say, if we're looking for someone else also, I think that Mr. Wakula, Gage Wakula, actually had a slightly more impressive resume to me than Miss George.
Is that Wakula? Wakula. Two law students. I don't know. I think George makes a strong pitch for an interest in and at least some practical experience in zoning and land use.
I'm liking George better.
And Mr. Kroll did, Mr. Kroll is a reference.
All right, I'll try this. I'm going to move that we reappoint Clyde Esbury and that we appoint Travis Moore and what was her first name? Ms. George.
Maggie.
Maggie George.
Second, do we have to do that separately, Melanie?
I only have 3 for ZBA, and one is Leslie Anderson. So you're talking about those 3, correct?
Yeah, she's termed out.
Okay. Yes, you do have to do them separate.
Okay, so I will move to reappoint Clyde Esbury.
Second?
Unless there's any discussion, call for the vote. Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Meese.
Yes.
Okay, and I also vote yes. Is there a motion on Miss George?
Well, we can do her and Moore together.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Melanie, you want that one?
Sure, I'll move Travis Moore and Maggie George for appointment.
I'll second. Unless there's any discussion, Commissioner Meese.
Oh, wait, I do kind of have some discussion.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I hear what you're saying that, Mr. Kroll's been there and back again on the zoning board. How long has he been on it this time? And I mean, he did reapply.
Let me look.
Sort of goes against the thesis I stated at the beginning.
Okay, he came back in June of 16. served until December 17, and then was he was able to have another full term January 2018 to December of 2020. So he's only served the second time only 1 year, and then the full 3-year term.
So I will say that in watching some of the zoning board meetings, I've seen some impatience from Mr. Kroll that I think is unwarranted on this body. Perhaps a disinterest to really hear people out. And I'm looking for a kinder voice here.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
I think compassion is something like traffic. I think compassion is something that ZBA should also look at. And when looking at, these are neighbors that want to find a variance as long as it's not impeding the life of other neighbors. So it's a hard place to be. Is there any more discussion? Okay, I believe Commissioner Macy made the motion.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas?
Yes.
I also vote yes. Okay, so now that takes us down to back around to Parks and Rec and Senior Service. I'm sorry, Parks, Rec, and Senior Services, and then the Aging in Place Task Force. Parks and Rec has 5 total openings. 1 person does not want to be reappointed. 1 person has not responded, and 3 vacancies are from the course of the year.
Yeah, we're hurting in Parks and Rec. We need these appointments fast.
Well, let me talk a little bit about senior aging in place, and maybe that takes things off the table for you. Sue Wells is an absolute must for that committee, and that's the only thing she applied for. You know who Sue is, right? She's the deputy director of Oakland County Parks and Rec. I mean, she would be aces on this. And she will make it, easy for us to tap into the resources up there in the county. And then the other one I like is, but I've got other candidates, but my preference is Kelsey Florek. Kelsey runs a company that does estate sales. So on a routine basis, she is dealing with the families of and the households of people at the end of their life. And I think that's a unique experience that she would bring to this.
Kelsey was on my list.
So she was one of my backups. It did feel to me like, I guess I was wondering if that experience with estate sales seems like it doesn't take into account the decisions that are being made. It's like, it's not at the front end of the decisions. It's like kind of dealing with the aftermath with maybe without understanding the motivation. So, and it's a pretty new business from what I could tell. So I worried a little bit like this task force would be better experience for her than she would bring to the task force.
My other choice is Susan Anderson, and you probably wouldn't.
Yeah, never mind. You can have Kelsey.
And then my other choice for that was, I like Dennis Hessel, but he's a physical therapist, and we already have a male physical therapist on that committee.
Okay, the other one that I had was Helen Cost. What about Helen Cost? I'm trying to find. Sorry.
Oh, for that?
That's all she applied for.
Oh, I see that. See, I don't necessarily we've had people say, well, we need, senior citizens on that committee. And Helen is a woman of a certain age. But she didn't really make a case for it. Other than the fact that she's older. And, I would rather have someone with some experience and industry knowledge over Helen. I like her. We served on the Roots Committee before, and I, very much appreciate what she brought to the table there, but I'm looking for people with experience.
Yeah, she did not. I wish she had made her case more. Like, I don't know much about her, but it seemed like she wrote PhD, and I'm like, in what?
Well, and then my other choice, but I'm sure she's going to be on your list too, is Carrie Wallachek.
Yeah, she's on my list. Where'd she go?
Because she's on my list also for Parks and Rec.
Yeah, she's the Healthy Communities woman. Yeah, she's on my list too.
Yeah, she'd be perfect in either slot. Well, so who do you have for Parks and Rec, Melanie?
So-
And
So Carrie, Robin Winter, right above Carrie, Joseph Vukic, Maya Harris. Wait, yeah. And Susan Anderson.
Maya Harris.
So Maya Harris was a very late applicant, and I will give you some background. She has been the student rep on Parks and Rec the past several years. She reliably shows up to the meeting, more reliably than many of the actual members. And for a while was bringing her mother with her, and now she's graduated from college. And she's also applying for the library board because she wants to be a library technician, which I think is wonderful. And so I spoke with her teen ways which via text about this application, and I suggested, like, hey, you could be a full member of Parks and Rec now if you're interested. And so she applied, and I think she's one of those ones who's put in the time, and I think it might be nice for her to be able to show up at a meeting and have her vote count. But she's not in the original packet. She applied, sometime in the last week.
Yeah, I've got her. So other people I did for Parks and Rec were Vincent Brown, Tony Renpage, Ryan Ross. So those are other names that there are a lot of people with a good fit here.
I also had Renpage as a backup. I also had Matthew Liston and Vicky Baby as good fits for there were a lot. This was a hard one.
Okay.
And Ray Emerson, who's like the racquetball guy.
Racquetball, yeah.
So, yeah, there were a lot of good choices, which is why I was curious. I thought we were talking about Susan Anderson. And then I wondered if you would want these two, Wallaceck and then the other one. I also had what's the guy's name who's the physical therapist? I think he was on my list. He was on my backup list too.
Hessel
Hustle.
is a physical therapist. But he didn't apply for Parks and Rec.
Oh, you're right. He didn't apply for Parks and Rec, so never mind. Not him.
Well, it sounds like I could have Sue Wells on seniors and, not take any candidate.
Well, we know I want Susan Anderson.
Well, you do.
I do. And here's the problem. It's very challenging to make sure that we're getting seniors on. Parks and Rec is also Senior Services Advisory Board, and they don't state their age on the application, and we can't be choosing on that. But so having someone who has some expertise, who states that that's what they're interested in doing is helpful. So I thought, like Susan Anderson was one way for me to get that done.
Hey, can I throw out there too that maybe this is a board that's okay to have some overlap?
We already do.
Yeah, there's by designation, like we designate someone to go to senior services.
Is that filled right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah. Indinger.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, wait. What was I also had Teresa Nielsen and Linda McDonald as possible for the Agent in Place Task Force. Were either of those on anybody's list? And I did have Kelsey. There.
What did you say, McDonald, and what was the other one? Nielsen. Why didn't
Nielsen.
I think I like Kelsey better than, I forget what it was. No, there is for Parks and Rec also Aaron Ogren, who's new to the city, but she's in event management for Ford Motor Company. And I think that's kind of a perspective. You know, our parks are have tons of big pavilions and very rentable space, and that that's could be a perspective to bring to that committee.
Also, I do not love when people, when under references says provided upon request. No, this was the request.
I agree.
Who was that?
Well, so Kelsey said, I'm happy to provide these. Okay,
Oh.
please do.
Yeah, I've met her. I
Oh,
mean,
you know her. That helps.
yeah, I know her. That. So, and we had a long talk, and this has been like 2 years ago. So she's had her business for 2 years.
Oh,
And so, and I met her, and had a great attitude, and was interested in specifically this committee.
okay. All right. I feel persuaded.
Okay, that's two of them.
You want to do it, Shar, or you want me to do it?
I would like to, for the Senior Aging in Place Task Force, nominate Kelsey Florick and Susan Wells.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Without any discussion, Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Congratulations to our new members. Parks and Rec.
Okay, so I'll do the two easy ones. I'll move Susan Anderson and Carrie Wallasick for Parks and Rec.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Without any, I'll take the vote. Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
Douglas,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. So that was 5. There's 3 left.
So I had Robin Winter on here, who had previously been on Parks and Rec for some period, I think longer period of time, and was pretty active in the Royal Football Club too. She seemed to have
Him. It's a he.
Thank you. He seemed to have, like this was the specific area of interest, right? Like Parks and Rec or his thing. So I guess he applied to this and to the senior services.
He is on the Crime Prevention Council.
Oh, he is.
He is.
Oh, I see that. Okay. Helpful.
I mean, Rob is a great guy. He's one of those people who, if he says he'll do something, he does it. But as I say, he's on crime prevention, and he's served the community for a long time, which I do value. But then again, I also value opportunities to bring new faces on.
Okay. Well, in that line, the other person who was like that in my mind in this category was Joseph Vukic, who I also had on my possible list. Was also, I think, a father of young children. I can't remember if he or his spouse works at ROMS, but they're involved with the schools as well. So he seemed like a good Parks and Rec side of it.
He's a social studies teacher. Yes, his wife works at ROMS.
Maybe I'll go ask my kid if the wife is nice.
Melanie, what was the last name again?
Vukic, Vukich.
Gotcha. Yep.
So I'm inclined to bend to your wishes here, Melanie, that you know this committee. You know who's on it. You know what you need to balance it out. Again, my choice is Brown, Matthew Liston. I think he's been working like on a Parks and Rec committee somewhere else. Ryan Ross. Oh, Tim Slusser. I'm sorry, I want to bring Tim up. Tim is another one who applied for the city commission. He has worked in economic development. He worked for the MEDC. A longtime friend of mine at MEDC thinks he walks on water. Just great. So if we want to look at the commission applicants as a place for you know, to get people involved in the system, I would make a case for Tim.
Okay, he was not one of the ones I had marked.
And he doesn't really have any specific experience. It's the fact that he applied for city commission. And I called him and I said, look, I'd like, you know, we'd like to see you more engaged in the community. And he applied, and this was one of the things he was interested in. So.
Was he a late application?
What?
Because I don't see him. I'm looking through, I don't see him in the packet.
Dated November 8th.
Okay.
So again, I will defer to Melanie. I want to see you take the lead on this, but I did want to make sure I made a case for Tim.
Okay, I'm trying to find him.
November 8th.
I mean, November 8th means it should be in the packet, right? We got the packet after November 8th.
Yep. You applied for DDA, EDC, Parks and Rec, Planning Commission.
Although actually, I don't see him either.
It's him in Parks and Rec. And he's not on my spreadsheet.
He's on my spreadsheet.
I mean, his name's on my spreadsheet, but I haven't.
Yeah,
Not
it's a,
as
I don't have him marked for anything either. I guess I must have never seen his application. I didn't notice. All right. So
Email
we.
to you?
Oh
Could
yeah,
you?
could you? That'd be great.
Yeah.
So Shar, I mean, like I say, some of what I need on this is some senior focused members. So in terms of balance, but it's challenging to see.
Well, of them, what I know, take a look. Oh, hang on.
How about William Egerton? Oh, thank you. So fast, Melanie. Okay.
I mean, I thought, so looking, when Tim applied for the city commission, I thought he had a good application. Wait, this is the city commission application.
This is, but that's helpful enough. Actually, it's probably more helpful.
It does tell you more about a person.
Yeah, I'm looking at Egerton. I think others made a more compelling case.
Oh, you know, Tony Renpage is someone we both had said. Was he a late applicant? Because I don't see him in my packet either.
Oh, you know, I don't see him in mine, but I know I considered him.
Which one are you looking for? I'm sorry.
Renpage.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm gonna be able to find it. Yeah, I have it. It was sent this morning.
Oh, here's another, Melanie, Commissioner Macy, there's another email about Tim that just came in also with his Parks and Rec, yeah.
Why did I like Renpage?
Oh, he's the rec guy. He's a rec guy.
Oh, yeah, he's got a degree in parks, recreation, and tourism.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you're looking for someone older, just looking at the list, I mean, the only one that I kind of know of is Rob Winter, who is a retiree.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're not trying to appoint multiple people to the. There's all these different principles in mind here as I do these appointments. Oh, how about Maya Harris? We've done two so far, right? We've done the two easy ones. So Maya Harris is the student who's coming back for a full appointment.
Right.
I'll
like,
also say,
I like that idea.
reading her application, I really hope the mayor appoints her to the library board also, which has 2, maybe 3 openings on it.
There's one left to do.
There's one left.
Mhm.
That's an age group on the library board that is just completely not represented. I mean, we have the library board has every age span up until like your 30s, and then we have no one. I may have been the youngest person on it previously. So it's I think a younger person on the library board would be really good for the body.
Yeah, I agree. But it does make me think, like, I don't know, then we'd be appointing her to 2 pretty big things at once. But who knows what the mayor's going to do? And she earned her chance at Parks and Rec, I think. So I'll nominate
That's right.
Maya Harris.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Call for the vote. Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
I vote yes. Congratulations, Ms. Harris.
Okay.
2 left.
2 left.
Park and Recs now has more members on it than it's had in the last 8 months, so
I know.
we're making
Thank
great
God.
progress.
I didn't do Joe Vukic yet, did I?
You've not made the case yet.
So that's the one that we were looking at, where the wife is a ROMS teacher. I think he's a social studies teacher. Got some younger kids. I felt like I wanted to put him somewhere. He applied for several, and this seemed like a good fit for him. Anybody else? I can't remember if anyone else had him on their list or not.
Not me. It was the one that I was thinking of was Ryan Ross, who spent 7 years on the Birmingham Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
Okay, let me look. Oh my gosh, so many tabs. Where'd you go, Parks and Rec? There you are. I don't know why I didn't have Ryan Ross on mine.
He's also a general contractor.
Brian Ross is someone that we probably all know. We don't know that we know him. Him and his wife are often downtown promoting it on Facebook and WROK. They have an adorable date nights. They're the 2 that I believe are going around downtown all the time, if I'm right about this.
I haven't seen that.
I see why you like him, Shar. I see it now. He put the words master plan in there. That's all Shar needs.
Well, he actually had me at 7 years on the Birmingham Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
I'm just teasing. He does look good. I think I kind of, there was so little text here, I think I skipped over a little bit.
I met Mr. Ross. I like him.
Who did you have for this, Brandon? Did you give us any names?
No, I've been listening to her. I mean, I think all my names have been said already. The only one that I think was different was the person who was the event planner creating to the city.
Oh, the other thing, Vukic, is that he's been a coach for the Royal Oak Sandlot League. And I'd like to have some better ties with them, as our baseball fields across the city are in rotten shape. And it's hard to keep them up. Like we have with the Royal Oak Football Club, a really good relationship. And I say relationship, they basically do all the work for the maintenance of the soccer fields, which is very, very helpful. And the Royal Oak Sandlot League, it feels like it's the total opposite. Like anything that's done on the fields is done by the city. So I guess for me, I'd like Vukic and Ross for my final picks.
I like that.
I'll make that a motion.
Don't you get 3?
I don't think so, because we did Maya.
Okay. So I'll second Vukic and Ross.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
This is a whole new Parks and Rec.
That's the only person, right? Okay. With that, I will call for the vote. Commissioner Macy.
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas.
Yes.
I also vote yes. So congratulations to everyone who's just appointed. Hey, hour and a half.
Well done. So, and I would
Because
just
I threatened you.
I would just like to say thank you so much to Deanna for this spreadsheet and keeping it up. It makes life so much easier. Thank you. Well done, clerk's office.
Totally agree. Until we can get you some better software to manage it even better, that won't be so much work.
Guys, we have a late
Well,
applicant. Kennedy Colo would like a spot in Parks and Rec.
She is too young even for a student spot.
Ah,
But
sorry, Dave.
adorable. She can give us. She can come to public comment and tell us her reviews of all the parks.
I'll have this ready for the next commission agenda. So we'll do all the final approvals then, and then they'll be all set. So,
All right.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Unless there is any other business of the city here, I'll look for motion to adjourn.
Also,
Second.
Any discussion? I spent the least amount of time in city. I'm only at 5 hours for city meetings this week. You two have been in city meetings much longer, so I can keep on going if you want.
good job, Brandon.
Commissioner Douglas,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy,
Yes.
as well, yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. See you soon.
Carol, we're done.